Dear students, today we are beginning the subject risk and insurance management. In the syllabus, you might have seen that insurance chapter comes first and risk comes later. But what I want to say is, in whole of your syllabus of the fourth semester of risk and insurance management subject, we can have three topics. That is, one is risk, second one is disaster, and the third one is insurance. Even though the first chapter in your syllabus is given insurance, I'm not going to deal in the beginning because we have to deal first we have to know what is risk, and because of there is a risk we are going for insurance. That's the connectivity we have. Therefore, I'm taking first the topic risk. Then secondly, another topic is covered in your syllabus is disaster. So the disaster management topic also I'll be dealing second after the risk, that is there mentioned in your sixth chapter. So risk is there in the chapter 3 and chapter 6. Then third topic is insurance. Because there is a risk, because there is a disaster, you are going for a insurance. That you have to keep in your mind, and accordingly we are moving. Therefore, today I'll be beginning with the concept called risk, and that's why in the syllabus you may get it in the chapter unit 3. So I'll be beginning with the unit 3, not all the topics, only the risk. Then there are some topics of risk management in the unit 6. So I'll be completing all the connected topics of the risk. Then I'll be continuing the disaster management, that is there in the 6th unit. So first I'll be doing the half of the 3rd unit, then I'll be going to the 6th unit. So after the completion of the 6th unit, I'll be coming back to the 1st unit, and accordingly to the syllabus will follow after that. Now, so the word risk, my simple question is, what is risk? So now you have a risk here. Now you have to tell me what is risk. So I know that by the very word, when you hear risk, what is this big thing in this word? Very simple. But when you go and try to understand in a deeper way, it's very difficult. Many times we utter the word risk, but if we asked what is to explain, then it is difficult. So let's move it now. It would seem that the term risk is a simple enough notion. As I've said, everybody utters in everyday's life, it is risky, there is a risk, such ways we express it. But when someone states there is a risk in a particular situation, the listener understands what is meant is, in the given situation there is uncertainty about the outcome, and the possibility exists that the outcome will be unfavorable. Here there are two things. See, outcome is uncertainty about the outcome. You don't know what the outcome will come. Then there is a outcome will be unfavorable. This is what the risk in a condition when there is it is risky. So you don't know. Now I say, today everybody says going out is a risk because there is a coronavirus possibility of spreading the coronavirus. Now see, going out is a uncertain. When you come back, we will come back safe or with the infected coronavirus. You don't know. Then see, outcome will be unfavorable in the when you say that risk, when you come back, there is a possibility of getting affected with the coronavirus. That is not favorable, unfavorable. That's why we called it as a risk. Now, another example I will be giving to you of driving. Now you take a vehicle and go. So you don't know whether you come back safely or not. The moment you are sitting on a vehicle, you have all the possibilities of getting damaged or an accident. That's why you see in India all the vehicles have a insurance. So without insurance, no vehicles are supposed to be on the road. So this is a major reason for that. So this notion of risk, which implies a lack of knowledge about the future and the possibility of some adverse consequences. So some lack of knowledge about the future. You don't know about the future. Now traveling in a vehicle, you don't know about the future. You can be safe or not. So now in 2011, you know that many people from Air India Express from Dubai flight, they wanted to land to Mangalore, and they all thinking that okay, we'll be landing, but it never happened because there is a risk in travel. So possibility of some adverse consequences, that is called the risk. So let me continue with the word risk. So, some what you call meanings I try to give you to make you understand more about the risk. An uncertain event or condition which, if occurs, would have an undefined or unknown impact on achievement of objective, could be called as risk. So you wanted to do something and wanted to achieve, but it is not possible. Then it becomes a risk. Now take for example, you have a hotel, and in the hotel today you prepare 100 people's biryani, thinking that today 100 people will come. But the moment you have thought 100 people, another thought comes to your mind: will they come? Means that's all exactly the risk. You are not sure. You have prepared 100 people's biryani in your hotel, but today only 10 people came. So outcome is unfavorable. So that is called risk. So in the ordinary sense, the risk is the outcome of an action taken or not taken in a particular situation, which may result in loss or gain. So in ordinary sense, risk is a just outcome of an action taken or not taken because of doing something, or sometimes risk is there because you are not doing. So I can tell you simply, the even if you are sleeping, it is a risky because you are oversleeping, means you have not done anything, just you slept. Because of that, you may become a sick. You have to have a exercise because of not doing something. You have a risk. Now you are just lazy and not coming out of your room and not doing any exercise, then you have a risk of becoming unhealthy. So there may be a loss or a gain in the risk. So it is termed as a chance or loss or exposure to danger arising out of internal or external factors that can be minimized through preventive measures. So a chance or loss or exposure to danger. There is a danger and you are exposed to that danger. See, remember that danger is not the risk. So danger is there, and to that danger you are exposed to. So that is the risk. And internal or external factors, within or outside factors, may be causing that. So that can be minimized through preventive measures. So risk can be always if you cannot minimize, then it cannot be called risk. So whenever there is a possibility of avoiding or minimizing the risk, then it is called a risk. Otherwise it is not a risk. So another is last finally I want to say is, risk is a pervasive condition of human existence. What does it mean? Risk is a pervasive condition of human existence. Risk is a pervasive condition of human existence means it is existing everywhere. From the birth of a child till the end of our life, everywhere, every day, every situation, you have a risk. Now just take an example. You are watching a video of my class with taking a mobile. Now mobile may get blasted in your hand. There is a risk. Now where you are sitting inside, if you are sitting inside the room, the roof may fall. You don't know. So even sitting inside is a risk. Even holding any instrument is a risk. So risk is there everywhere, every time. Therefore, don't be afraid. Life is risky, but at the same time, we have to live with the risk. Just I wanted to tell you how what risk is. So let me move with the further information about the risk. For risk to exist, there must be at least two possible outcomes. If you know for certain that a loss will occur, there is no risk. See, there are two possibilities, either loss or a gain. So, if you think that there is a loss, 100% it's going to be a loss, then it cannot be called as a risk. Now, for example, now you take it, you are buying one vehicle for your personal use. So, you are buying a car, take example. Now, when you are buying a car, you know that the value of a car for this year, if you have purchased a car of 7 lakhs, next year that car will be valuing only 5 lakhs. You cannot sell it for 7 lakhs. It has to be sold only for 5 lakhs. So, you know that next year the value has come down. So, that is not called a risk because you are aware of that. The future is known to you. So, that is not a risk. So, here the outcome is certain. So, there is no risk. But there should be two possibilities, either more or less. Then it is not called a risk. Now take example. At least one of the possible outcome is undesirable. So this may be a loss in the generally accepted sense in which something the individual possesses is lost, or it may be a gain smaller than the gain that was possible. Even sometimes what happens is you have expected a larger gain, but so it may not happen. Now take example of which I gave once in the beginning. So in the hotel business, now you have prepared a biryani for 100 people, but there is a risk whether 100 will come or not. So if the 100 will come exact, fine. There are so many outcomes. Well, 100 may come, more than 100 may come, less than 100. If smaller than the gain that was possible means 100, and if something below it comes, then you have a what you call loss. Then that is called a risk. And there is also a risk that above 100 comes also, oh, you are not able to feed. So you have a risk what to decide. That's why outcomes should be many, not only one. If it is only one outcome, then there is it cannot be called as a risk. So let's move with the definition now. We define risk as a condition of the real world in which there is an exposure to adversity. So, in a real world, in the condition is you are exposed to the adversity, some dangers. So, a proper definition I am going to give you. A risk is a condition in which there is a possibility of an adverse deviation from a desired outcome that is expected or hoped for. So you have a desired outcome, but now that has a change to the adverse deviation. Now take example, you are going to abroad thinking that you will be getting a good job. But now after going there abroad, you lost your so much of money, but your job was not good and you returned back. So what happened is, so the possibility, desired outcome was you are going and earning there, and you had expected or hoped for. But it happened adversely. Your job was not good as you have thought, and you are spending everything went, and that's why you say every time you say whenever you are going to abroad is a risky. So that's why if I go on giving you examples, so many I can narrate just for your understanding. From this definition, we have three concepts which I would explain you now. So definition explain. So first concept in this is, in this definition, your risk is a condition of the real world. It is a combination of circumstances in the external environment. So it is not that just what you call risk is in a theoretical world. So there should be condition in the real world, something practical, whether for a doing or for not doing. So there is a risk for doing or not doing something. So a condition of the real world, it is one thing. Second is, in this combination of circumstances, there is a possibility of loss. So in the risk always there should be, as I have said, outcome should be possibility of loss. If there is no possibility of loss, then it is not, it cannot be called as a risk. If your outcome is only one, you are sure for that. So you are the outcomes are many, When we say that an event is possible, we mean that it has a probability between 0 and 1, either this or that. So it is neither impossible or definite. So if it is definite, there is no risk. If it is impossible, then you don't go for such work to do at all. So if you know that it's impossible for me, okay, fine, there is no risk because you are not going to do that. And the third, there is a requirement that the possibility may be measurable, but only that it must exist. We may or may not be able to measure the degree of risk, but the probability of the adverse outcome must be between 0 and 1. What it says is we cannot measure exactly the how much, what is the degree of risk, this much percentage, that much. Today people are trying to say, now you just see, now you are going out, how can you say that 80% there is a possibility of getting corona? You are not sure, so you can't measure the degree. Either you get it or not get it, so you can't say the percentage of a risk. Now you are driving a vehicle and you are going, how can you say that 50% you have a possibility of getting accident? Some lifelong they have not got accident at all, therefore you can't claim that there is a either 1 or 0, means either it happens or doesn't happen. So this is a just explanation. Now, when we are dealing with the word risk, there are other words. So sometimes people will say for risk for everything, uncertainty also risk they say, hazard also risk they say, peril also risk they say. So we have to see what these words are. So these are different than the risk. Risk is different, peril is different, hazard is different, uncertainty is different, even the danger, what we call, sometimes there is a danger we say. So risk and danger also are not the same. But for our studies in the insurance, we have to deal with these words. So that is why just I want to give you a little understanding of these peril, hazard and uncertainty, and when you are studying risk, because we must be aware what is peril, what is hazard, what is uncertainty. So in this PPT you can see that I have given an arrow mark to the risk. What I say is peril will lead to the risk, hazard will lead to the risk, uncertainty will lead to the risk. Peril is not a risk, hazard is not a risk, uncertainty is not, but they are related to the risk, and because of them risk will come. How and what will be understanding when we are dealing with these terms. So I will be dealing with these three terms. Let's move. So first I'll be telling you what peril is. So be clear, get understand now itself so that you are aware all the time. Peril is defined as the cause of loss. So peril is not a risk. Peril is the cause of loss. Now you see, if your house burns because of a fire, the peril or cause of loss is the fire. That fire is a peril. Fire is not a danger. Fire is not a risk. Now fire is a peril. So there is a possibility of risk because of that peril. So now water is a peril because now you are going to swim. Now because of your swimming you have drowned. Now what it call is water is a peril there. So another here example I have given is, if your car is damaged in a collision, that is accident with another car. Now the peril is that accident. So now peril you can't see there. It happened. So that accident happening is called the peril. In one fire, water, you can see that water perils, but that accident is also called as a peril. So some more examples I have given. Common perils that cause loss to property include fire, lightning, windstorm. Now the storms comes. The other day, Taukte has come, and this is a windstorm. So hail, tornado, earthquake, flood, burglary. So burglary or theft. Now thief is not a peril, but that act of stealing is the theft, that is called a peril. I hope you understand what peril is, the word. Therefore peril is not a risk. Fire. Now sometimes flood is risky. Flood is not a risk. Flood is a peril. So flood is coming to your house or touching to the people, that becomes a peril. Yes, let's move to the next word, and that is hazard. So a hazard is a condition that creates or increases the frequency or severity of a loss. So what hazard is, because in the when I'm not going to give you example here itself, there are various types of the hazards. So in every hazard I'll be giving you this one examples. So there are four types of hazards. So a hazard is a condition that creates or increases the frequency. You should be knowing that. So now, hazard is a condition. Just one example to understand, I will give you. Now, take example that you have a road going to the hill, and that road is very narrow and very curvy. Now, what happens is there are a lot of possibilities of because of that road is not good, accident possibilities of occurring the accidents because of the road is not. Now that road condition is called as a hazard. That road is a hazard now here. So you'll understand better when we are dealing with each hazard. So there is a physical hazard, there is a moral hazard, there is a legal hazard, then there is a attitudinal hazard. So we'll see one after the another. So physical hazard. What is this physical hazard? A physical hazard is a physical condition that increases the frequency or severity of loss. A particular physical condition is causing. Now, electric line is passing on the road itself, which you can touch. Very low it is. Then that is called a physical hazard, because you may touch. Sometimes there is possibility of getting touched with that electric line and getting burned or getting died. So that is called physical. Or a well is very open on the way where you are walking every day, and beside that there is a well. Oh, it's so kept open and not covered up, or not built a wall to that. That is called physical hazard. So some of the examples here also in the PPT I have given. You can go through that. So uh, another, see, defective lock on a door, that increases the chance of theft. Now you have kept a lock on your door, and there is a possibility that that lock is not good. So that lock, defected lock, is a physical hazard. So let's move to the next, that is a moral hazard. So what is this moral hazard? Moral hazard is a dishonesty or character defects in an individual that increase the frequency or a severity of loss. Here the person is important. You can't see a moral hazard. In the physical hazard you can see now defected lock, you can see open wires of the electric line, you can see all those conditions, damaged road, you can see. That is physical. Now moral is the character of the persons. Because of the character of a particular person is not good, there is a danger. Now you have appointed a worker in your company who has a background of stealing. Now, the stealing of nature of him is a dangerous for you. The stealing nature of him may cause the may cause you the risk. That's why that is called moral hazards. So moral hazards in the insurance include faking an accident to collect from an insurer. So accident actually had not happened, so you have faked. Submitting a fraudulent claim or inflating the amount of a claim. Now particular in the insurance you have to give us a particular amount, but he actually his loss was just 10,000, but you are claiming 12 to 15,000 or more than that. That is claiming more. So there are many more examples, you can go through that. Next is a attitudinal hazard or moral hazard. We can, attitudinal hazard is carelessness or indifference to a loss which increases the frequency or a severity of a loss. So sometimes careless behavior of a particular person, say moral hazard is something different where it is not proper supposed to be. Attitudinal chalta hai, anything is okay, why I should bother. Now students behavior is lethargic, anything is okay, and such students are coming to the post graduation, they don't study anything, then there is a risk of getting failed, risk of losing your money, that what you all spent to pay your fees. So a practical example I am giving you. So attitudes are very important. So sometimes carelessness, so you have kept open your doors of the house and going out, and thief may come and steal. So there are many examples here, and just I'll read. See, examples of attitudinal hazard include leaving car keys in an unlocked car, which increases the chance of theft. So that is a hazard condition. Leaving a door unlocked, which allows a burglar to enter, and changing lanes suddenly on a congested expressway without signaling. So what do you call is without giving any signal, work in progress, that you have changed the lane, that may cause, which increases the chance of an accident. Careless acts like these increases the frequency and severity of loss. This is a attitudinal hazard. And then there is another hazard, that is a legal hazard. So legal hazard refers to characteristics of legal system or regulatory environment that increases the frequency or severity of losses. For the legal hazard, one of the beautiful example I will give you. See, in the legal hazard, now take example, what you call is you have constructed one building near the roadside, and you are aware that road encroachment will take place, and legally you have to leave a 40 meters or 60 meters distance from the road, which you have not left. Now, whenever the government authorities will come to know that there is a this one, what you call building such and such, or somebody complain, they may come and remove your building. So you are going to lose the building. So that is called the legal. I hope this example is very suitable for this legal hazard. It's a rule. Because of the rule, you are going to lose something. That is a legal hazard. Let's move with the something, another topic that I have said. Now I have explained peril, I have explained hazard, I have explained now I am going to explain uncertainty. See, now you understand these all things are connected with the risk. Peril is a cause of the risk. Hazard is a condition of the risk. Uncertainty is a future. If it is certain, it is not a risk. If it is uncertain, then it is a risk. So by the term uncertainty, we mean the absence of certainty or something which is not known. It refers to a situation where there are multiple alternatives resulting in a specific outcome, but the probability of the outcome is not certain. This is because of insufficient information or knowledge about the present condition. Hence, it is hard to define or predict the future outcome or event. Now, future, what is going to happen? You don't know. That is called uncertainty. So, if you are certain, then it's over. Absolutely nothing to speak about. The future result is not known. Absence of certainty or something which is not known. Now, you are say for example, you have started a business, and you think that you are thinking that something profit may happen, but at the same time you are uncertain whether profit may happen or you are undergoing a loss. So uncertainty cannot be measured in quantitative terms through past models. Therefore, probabilities cannot be applied to the I can't see here. So just will quit that what sentence, but what is uncertainty cannot be measured. How much degree of uncertainty is there, that will be not knowing. Then finally I conclude here. I say just thank you for observing following this my recordings. So in the next class I will be giving you differences between the risk and uncertainty. Then I will be going through the classification of risk. So these are the topics I will be covering in the coming classes. Thank you.